Hi, I'm Dorothy Mullen. I was diagnosed in April of 2019 with stage 4 lung cancer, and I am now about all the way to the median life expectancy for people who are diagnosed at the point where they already have stage 4. And that means that half of the people have died by now and the other half of people have a while longer to live. But it is a terminal diagnosis, which is, they say, treatable but not curable. So as I prepare for the end of life, I have been inviting my friends into the process. And this is my friend Corinne Zupko. We have a mutual history with the College of New Jersey, and she's going to take over the interviewing.
So I'm really excited to be here with Dar, and I was visiting Dar a number of different times, asking questions, and really struck by some of Dar's answers, and that was really the inspiration behind doing some of these videos. And with Dorothy facing this diagnosis and living with this diagnosis of stage 4 lung cancer, I was struck at how much grace and acceptance and calm and peace that you exude. And my question was like, how are you like this? How is it that you are in such a place of grace and acceptance? So with that question, I would love to hear your answers.
Okay, well, the first thing that sprang to mind when the subject came up is that I didn't get one of these loosey-goosey, namby-pamby, 50-50 chance of living 10 years kind of diagnosis. I got a diagnosis that was pretty clear. I mean, 5-year survival rates are really a very small tail on the end of that bell curve, and I decided very quickly to move into palliative care and hospice care because it was so clear, so black and white, so decidedly going to be terminal, that in a way that helped moving into grace and acceptance, because I wasn't given a whole lot of choice by the numbers. So that's what it made it really clear quickly. I also live with this sense that I am a terrain on which all of my experience plays out. I have a physical body, I have an emotional and a spiritual world, and for reasons of a long description having to do with a very bad health history, I had decided decades ago to devote myself to organic gardening, to devote myself to healthy living practices, to really clear out my system and live as much as I possibly could according to a lifestyle that's healthy rather than doing a lot of medical work. So I feel that I was a good physical terrain on which we can move into our dying process with grace and acceptance. I'm also aware of feeling like I have an emotional and a spiritual terrain. I don't fight with the inevitable. I've tried to live by the golden rule. I believe very strongly that I was meant to lead an examined life, to be thoughtful and prepared in all of my relationships and all of my dealings. And so there is an emotional spiritual part of my terrain which made it easier for me to move into grace and acceptance. And I think that my internal German is really expressing right now. I have this little phrase that I've sort of created for how people behave when times are hard. And I consider knowing that you're dying soon to be sort of a hard time. And it goes like this: in hard times, people remain intensely in character. In hard times, people do more of what they're already good at, regardless of the need. So I'm watching myself, I'm watching my loved ones, and the casual visitors have this experience of remaining intensely in character. And so intensely in character for me has been, how can I bring meaning and purpose into the dying process? Well, I can make these videos and I can help my friends with their end of life planning. And perhaps one of the most useful things that I can do now is to be a safe dying person for other people to practice with, because in our culture, I am not seeing a whole lot of people who feel that the death process is normalized for them, or that they've had it modeled with their elders or people in, just in their community. So
all we get it is from TV, really.
We get it from TV. Like if we're Jewish, we're lucky. We Shiva calls and all of the rest of that. But that's the culture driving it. If you don't grow up with those traditions, you got to do something extra and purposeful and mindful, and include your community in order to move into acceptance that you're dying soon.
Thank you. So I'll just briefly recap those points. Dar really mentioned 4 different things. 1, that the diagnosis was terminal. 2, that your physical terrain, you cleared out the physical terrain from inflammatory foods, from foods that could contribute to the anxiety response. You really ate very clean and gave your body the best ground on which to do what it set out to do. So that was number 2. Number 3, you mentioned the emotional and spiritual terrain. We're going to come back to this with talking about spirituality and this idea of living an examined life. And the 4th being staying in character and being truly helpful and getting to be that safe dying person that people can learn from and talk to and be with. And yes, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.